All right, kids. Now in my car, waiting for my daughter to get out of a meeting, so we're going to do the second half of this. Um, this is now June 2009, part part 1, but we're going to do 16 through 30. Okay, a fraction is undefined only when the denominator equals 0. Don't fall in for the track just equal to 0. It's when the denominator equals 0. Sometimes 0 is the right answer, but not often. Especially when this one, they love to trick you. So I just set 2n equal to 0, or bring the 1 over, I get 2n equals 1, or n equals 1/2. So there's the answer to that one. That one wasn't too bad. This next one requires a ton of reading. I'm not sure why they wanted you to do this much work on a part 1 question, but whatever. If you read through it, the freshman classes always mention second. So we're going to let F equal freshman class. And the sophomores are 50 more, or 60 more. And the juniors are 50 fewer, but 50 fewer than twice the freshman class. I'll do 2F minus 50 equals the juniors. Fewer than is kind of like less than. You always wait to do it at the end. And it said the seniors are 3 times as many. Where does it say that? Senior class has 3 times as many. Now that doesn't make any sense unless all the freshmen just happen just to want to fail out of school, but whatever. Seniors. So if I add all these up, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7F equals, oops, how about plus 10? Now I got the plus 10 because 60 minus 50 is plus 10 equals 1424. Subtract the 10 from both sides. This is the positive 10. Subtract the 10 from both sides. I get 7F equals 1414, or F equals 202. That was kind of an annoying part 1 question, to be honest with you. All right, what are the vertex and axis asymmetry of this? I would, quite honestly, on this problem, just graph it. I mean, it's really easy to graph, but since I am not around a graphing calculator, I will show you the mathematical way to do it. But remember, if you were to graph it and look, oh, this is actually a weird graph because the y-intercept is actually positive 63, but it might look like this. This is the vertex, and the axis of symmetry is right down the middle. But let's do the work. Negative b over 2a. Hopefully you're using your flashcards because that's one of them. Negative 16 over 2 times 1. So this is positive 16 over 2, which is 8. So the axis of symmetry is 8. So I know it's not that, and I know it's not that. I also know it's got to be 8 something. I just don't know what. So now I'm going to plug 8 in and see what I get. And again, you can do 8 stow x and then just type that in, not the y, and see what you get. But since I'm not around a calculator, I'll be doing it myself. So 8 squared minus 16 times 8 plus 63. Yeah, I'll bust out the calculator. What the heck? 8 squared is 64. I don't know what 16 times 8 equals. 128. So we're going to take 64 minus 128 plus 63 equals negative 1. So the answer is choice 1. What statement about this relation is true? Oh, this is a really hard question. First of all, is this a function? Does this pass the vertical line test? Because all of these questions ask about whether or not it's a function. Is it a function? It absolutely is not a function. So you absolutely have a 50-50 guess. Then whoever decided to write this question decided to get all crazy on you. And the reason it's not a function, let's see, because there are multiple y values for a given x value. So that would be like, for example, here x equals 2 and y equals 0. And then here also x equals 2 and y equals, well, who cares, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's say 6. So those are the points 2, 0, and 2, 6. So there are multiple y values for a single x value. The answer is 3. That was kind of a very difficult question, I would say. It's one of those questions that makes or breaks you. Okay, so we're going to solve for y here. Notice all of these are positive slopes. So we can't get rid of these by positive slope. But can't I get rid of these two because it's got the equal to? Correct? And I honestly don't need to even solve this because notice that y is not negative, so I'm not going to be flipping the sign. So the sign is less than, and less than is shading down. So there's the answer, choice 1, just based on not even having to solve the equation. Kind of a simple question. But we'll solve it anyway because you know me. I love to solve math questions, especially when I'm sitting in a parking lot. Oh, that's 6x. Sorry, I thought I misread the question. Add 9, so I get 3y less than or equal to 6x plus 9. If I start singing, it's because a really good song comes on. I don't think you can hear this. It's a good song. Gotta love Godsmack. Divide by everything by 3. I get y less than or equal to 2x plus 3. So the y-intercept is 3, but all of them have a y-intercept of 3. Goes up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. They all go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. But the thing is whether or not you remembered it was less than. Choice 1. Simplest forms means we're going to use one of the F words you're allowed to use in my class, and that's, fraction is one of the favorite F words we're allowed to use in the class, but not in this case. It's factoring. I know how much you all love fractions. Denominator is easiest. We'll take out an x. Don't forget you have a GCF, so it's x times x plus 3. If I'm a guessing man, I'm going to guess there's an x plus 3 up here without even looking at the problem. Now, if you actually don't think I looked at it, you're crazy, but you were in my class all year, so I would expect nothing less. How about x minus 5? Negative 5 and positive 3 add up to negative 2. They also multiply to negative 15, so we're in good shape. See ya. Wouldn't want to be ya. There is your answer, otherwise known as 2. What is the equation of a line that passes through this point and has a slope of that? Now, I can do this a number of different ways. First of all, the slope has nothing to do with this problem because all of them have minus 3. Well, it doesn't have anything to do with the problem. Of course, it has something to do with the problem. I'm going to do it one way, and then I'm going to do it another way. So I'm going to write down y equals negative 3x plus b. Plug in negative 6 for y equals negative 3 times 4 plus b. This is negative 6 equals negative 12 plus b, or b equals, when I add 6, 6. So there's my answer. That's choice 1, way of doing it. That's number 1. There's actually 3 ways to do this problem that are so easy. Actually, there's like 4 ways to do this problem. You can do this problem so many different ways. Second way, plug in the points, see if it works. Plug it into number 1. Now, I know the answer is number 1, but if I didn't, then I just plugged in the x for x and the y for y. I would end up with negative 6 equals 3 times 4. Oops. That's negative. Negative 3 times 4 plus 6. And that would give me negative 6 equals negative 6. Check. Another way I can do this, just use my graphing calculator. Type in all of these answers into your graphing calculator and look on the table. Do you see that on the table? If that's in the table, you're good. If it's not in the table, it's not your right answer. And the fourth way would be to simply just do this. Graph the point 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, of course, I would use the graph paper in the back of the book. Slope says down 3 over 1. I would go up 3 over 1. up 3 over 1, up 3 over 1, up 3 over 1. There it is, y-intercept of 6. So there's like 4 different ways to do that problem. All right, that should have been pretty easy. Okay, if you remember and or have been reviewing my flashcards, subtracted from means we do it backwards. Please do it backwards. All right, so we're going to do 9x minus 4x. Well, 9x minus 4x is positive 5x. Let me change colors here just to get a little fancier. Negative 2 minus 7x. So negative 2x minus 7x. And I'm pretty sure we can stop there. There's the answer. If you know backwards or subtracted from is backwards, you are golden on that problem. Roots. Don't forget the roots are where it crosses the x-axis. It crosses at negative 6 and positive 3. Straightforward, simple question. Here's the vertex. There's the axis of symmetry. But these are the roots. These are, that is one ugly blue color. Let's go green. Green might be more festive. What is the value of the y-coordinate of the solution of this? Wow, this is not that easy. Let's do this. X plus 2y equals 9, and x minus y equals 3. Now, if you remember correctly, I told you I want you to interchange these first two numbers. So positive 1 will come here and negative 1 will come here. If you wanted to, this is quite easy, a simple problem. You could have just subtracted these equations. But if I do this, I get 1x plus 2y equals 9, negative 1x plus 1y equals negative 3, or 3y equals 6, or y equals 2. Now, I just did that way. I would check that. The way I check that is I'll find the x value. So I'm going to come up here to this one, and I'll go x plus 2 times 2 equals 9. That's 4. I subtract 4, I get x equals 5. But I'd also check it here. 5 minus 2, does that equal 3? Yes. Now, finally, the last thing, there's two ways of doing this problem. This is kind of an easy way, but the other way to do this problem is just to solve for y. If I solve this for y, first of all, I'm going to move the y over to here, and I'm going to move the 3 over to there, so I get x minus 3 equals y. And this one I'm going to solve. I get 2y equals negative x plus 9, divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2. Yeah, you know what? I know that's a pain in the neck. Almost said it. To put in your calculator, but you can do it. Look at your table and find out when the y values are the same, and the y values would be the same at when x equals 5 and y equals 2. Not the easiest question. All right, additive inverses. Additive inverses. I have a flashcard that does this. Additive inverses add up to 0. They make a 0, or everything just kind of goes away. So if I wanted to get rid of a, I would use negative a, correct? If I wanted to get rid of negative b, I would use positive b. So the answer is negative a plus b. Although if anybody finds a mistake, I'm adding bonus points to your fourth marking period just for fun. What is the product of this and this expressed in scientific notation? Wow. Well, let me bring back my calculator. So I've got 12 times 4.2. That's 50.4. Now I should have known it as 50.4. So these two multiply together times 10 to the 6. But you cannot have a number bigger than 10. The decimal point, I like red better. The decimal point has to be there. So we have to move this one more over, which means this has to go up to 7. And the answer is choice 4. These two should have been eliminated because they are not even remotely in scientific notation. And then this one you could have eliminated because it's really 50.4 times 10 to the 6th. Volume of a cube is equal to length times width times height, or in this case, because it's a cube, side cubed, because they're all sides of the same, so it doesn't really matter. So Ezra measured the cube to be 2 centimeters. So she measured, this is Ezra, 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. The actual of the cube is, so the actual is 2.1 times 2.1 times 2.1, or 2.1 times 2.1, 9, oops, forgot what it was. 9.261. So if you remember, the formula is actual minus measured over actual. So I'll take 9.261, I'll subtract off 8, I'll put it over 9.261. Please use alpha y equals. I don't have that option here, so I'm just going to subtract 8, hit enter, then I'm going to take that and divide it by 9.261, and I get 0.136. So round to the nearest hundredths place, that would be, since this is 0.136, hundredths place, what happened? That would be, well, that stinks, 0.14. Now, in this problem, if you wanted to, you can change these all to x's if you wanted to, or you can just leave them as a's, but you can do x, or excuse me, 2 stow x, and then type in 6 over 4x minus 2 over 3x, and see what you get, and then see which one gives you the right answer. Of course, we'll do it the right way. Let me erase that so I know what the heck I'm dealing with. So, in order to add fractions, I need to have, or in this case, subtract fractions, I need to have a common denominator. In this case, the common denominator is 12a. To get this to be 12, I multiply by 3, so I got to multiply by 3, so that's 18. I got to multiply this by 4, so multiply this by 4, that's 8. So that is 10 over 12a. Now they decide to be tricky and reduce it, and if I reduce it, I get 5 over 6a. How many times I got to see problems like this? They love this problem. 11 is in the set. 11's not in the set here because it doesn't have equal to. 11 is not in the set here because it doesn't have equal to. This one, both of these have 11. Greater than 10 has an 11. Greater than or equal to 10 has an 11. But greater than or equal to 10 also has a 10, and that's not in the set. So answer is choice 4. And that, my friends, hopefully I have all the right answers, is the multiple choice for June 2009. Check the next recording for the extended response. All right?